I'm going to show you how to draw this Scorpius Rex head with its mouth wide open with all those teeth looking very unsettling. We've already drawn it with its mouth closed, so this time I want to draw it with its mouth open. Much like the other video that I did, I'm going to sketch down the main shape of the head. Each time you draw it, you should hopefully be getting a bit better. So that's the main top of the head, if you can even see that. The back of its jaw is obviously hasn't changed from the other one, but the whole dynamics of the mouth itself is very, very different. Let's just draw in the shape of what hasn't changed right now, which is the upper lip area. And then, kind of around here, is where things start getting strange, interesting, and depending on how you want to draw it, the jaw itself is either a little bit down there or it's completely wide open. So let's try and combine the two together. I'm using photo references, but can always use a bit of imagination as well. So the mouth will be really wide open like that. Actually, the bottom of the jaw isn't as long as I initially thought, so it'd be more like there. There's a bit of a shape here for some of the, I guess, muscle tendon area. We'll give it the bottom of the jaw and make its membrane in between its mouth like that. So interestingly, some of the reference images that you see from official sculpt have it very curved, but when you look at shots from the actual animation, it isn't that curved, it's more flat. So I'm going to go with the more flat nature and the more flat style of the bottom lip. As the Manzarani Corporation said, it's very ugly, so I don't disagree with that. It is a very strange looking dinosaur, as I already start drawing in some of the bottom scales for the bottom of its jaw. Some of the reference images have a bit of a muscle line going like this, so perhaps its lower jaw isn't necessarily purely bone. I think it could actually be quite flexible, which is also very strange. And in here, there's going to be a whole stack of teeth. We're not going to do that just this moment though. We're going to focus on getting the jaw connected with the top half of the jaw. So again, this part is going to be pretty much like the first part of the other one, where we're just basically drawing out the shape of the head. The neck goes there. It's got a very strange, concerning shape of overall it's just a weird dinosaur. And actually, technically, there's two of them. Are they both equally the same, or they're slightly different? And I guess one is Scorpius Rex and one is... No, they're both meant to be E750, was it? So we got the lower lip there. It's got a strange jutting out from the lower lip. Comes out to about there, which is a very strange shaped nose. I'm already going to add in some of the lip detail, which is a little bit different to the approach that I took in my other video, but when it comes to drawing, you can always take multiple approaches. I'm going to add in some of the teeth now for the top part of the jaw. I suppose we probably want to make them very big and janky and juttery. And there's a big tooth there, smaller tooth there, and then these bunches of lip bumps and lip folds, I guess you call them, is another tooth. And then there's a smaller tooth that kind of has its own little bump. Another tooth there. And probably make this tooth a little bit bigger. That tooth is a little bit smaller. Then there's like two tinier teeth there. Just gonna tidy that up slightly. So it almost looks like it's got buck teeth in a way. It does have a very the whole thing is strange, and I guess that was the whole point of the design. The design was to make something very unsettling, and I tell you what, they sure did that. I'm gonna put in the head. The eye is like right up there. It strangely seems to have an eyebrow ridge, so I'll draw that in. And around here, I think the main way to make it look unsettling is to give it that very high, squished in vibe. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to give it a slight squished in. Let's not forget the nose, the nostril as it were. I'm going to add in a little bit of shadowing there for the indentation between the tip of the snout and this part of the snout. It has a bit of a circular orbit around its eye and some skin folds around its eye like that. Has a few little bumps. Got a bump like that. Got a bit of a bump there. Got a bit of a bump there. And it's got quite a large bump there. I'm actually going to add in some of the wrinkles up there. And a bit of a bump there. And then around here, it's kind of... It has some scaly texture that go down towards the back of its jaw. We'll add some little bumps and lumps and things. Around here, we'll add a line there, because up around here, it's kind of like a flat surface, but also kind of an indented surface. I'm going to add in a little bit of shading around its eye. And if you're not careful, you can always get this little line confused with the other main eye socket line, which it has up around here. So it's kind of got two lines. Maybe we don't worry so much about making this line as heavy, so we don't get ourselves confused, but there is a line there. We'll add this bit of line. Has a wonky, curvy sort of snake shape, and it's kind of got a, I guess around here would be a indentation in the actual skull, kind of a nasal breathing snout passage. People will call that shrink wrapping depending on where you sit in the paleo world, but it's an indentation nonetheless. So I'll do the eye like that. I will make the eyebrow ridge a little angrier. So I've got something going on like that. So it kind of does depending on what reference image you're looking at. It does have a bit of line bumps around here as well. In some reference images that you look at, it has a bit of a wobbly line there, so might as well add that. It's just got lots of bumps and lumpy bits, so you can kind of draw those lines. Don't have to be too particular, but I guess it does add to the overall character of the creature. Gonna add a little scale there, and it's kind of overall the head shape is looking alright there. Now it's time to add those quills. I will just make the back of the neck a little bit more prominent, because that's where most of the quills come from. So I'll have a big quill coming out the back of its head. Quite a few big quills coming out the back of its head actually. There's a big quill there, a slightly smaller quill there. And then we've got a few going around there. So it does have quite a few smaller quills along its head. So we'll add those in. Those could very well be where the Indoraptor gets its sort of cranial skull spike scale bits. So I'll add a few more quills. Another big quill, another big quill. And we've got a bit of a bump there. There's quite a few little indentation patches depending on the reference images that you look at. There's a spine there, quite a few spines actually, along the back of its neck. We'll have an added spike there. Change the orientation of your hand, make life a little bit easier for you as you change the direction of the quills. There's another big quill there. Kind of goes up there. Kind of like that. And there's a few sort of circular things. There's another quill you can add there. You can add little quills wherever you want. Let's add some of those ghastly big lower teeth. So it's got a big one there, like 3 around here, a tiny one, very tiny one, and then kind of about the same size as that one there. Depending on how you draw it, you can either draw it completely flat like this, or we can always just quickly add in a little line there to give a slight bit of perspective, slight bit of three-dimensionalism. And of course you can have the tongue deep set in the mouth, or you can have the tongue coming out of the mouth. Really, it's up to you what you want to draw, how you want your Scorpius Rex to look. And you can always erase lines. So around here, kind of midway into the jaw, there's two teeth. There's kind of a bigger tooth there. There's a smaller tooth, and then a much smaller tooth again. You could probably just do this any way you want, really, but I'm trying to get the teeth kind of the right shape, because they do add to the character. They are the character elements, and I guess we'd add the teeth onto that side as well. And actually, when you think about it, these teeth have a very similar shape to the quills. Shadow teeth behind these teeth. There's a shadow tooth. More shadow teeth. And we can add a little bit of texture. But I think I'm going to save that for another video where I'm going to go into... I want to make this a little bit more realistic of a creature. So we'll see how we go with that. We'll just add in a few more wrinkles just to emphasize that it's a neck. A very strange looking neck. Like normally you'd think that this is like a rotated neck, but this is basically what it looks like. It's got a very vibe to it. And then we can add some shading elements if you want. Shadows underneath its jaw to give more indications of lumps and bits and bobs like that. I'm just going to solidify that line a little bit more. And we nearly forgot its pupil. That would have been unfortunate. And we can add in a few little lines around here to give that brief impression of scales. But the actual animated character doesn't have any scales really there they can see too much. I mean, they're there, but they're not overly there, so you don't have to go too extreme with your own drawing either. Alright, let's remove that little bit of line. Just to finish up, we'll add in some of the stretchy lines that go on inside the mouth, and I'm just using quick little flickly lines, whatever you want to call them. Then you can add extra lines to make those lines a bit stronger. But overall, I think we're done. Scorpius Rex. If you like this video, give it a big old thumbs up. If you want to see my other versions of this Scorpius Rex, I should have them linked on the end card somewhere, but I'm also going to have a bunch more videos. You might want to subscribe if you haven't already done so, because there's going to be more to watch. So, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in one of those videos. Cheerio for now.